I am detecting a pattern with this A's team, and I'm not liking it.
You are Locked On A's, your daily Oakland A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, A's fans, and welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast where we talk about your Oakland A's as long as they're in Oakland, and as long as they're not driving us all crazy. I am your host. My name is Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully. I've been a baseball podcaster for well over a decade now, and this is my sixth full season here as a member of the Locked On Podcast Network. I also host the podcast Locked On MLB, and I do that 5 days a week too. So if you need me here to talk about your A's, or if you want to hear me talk about all of Major League Baseball, I got you covered both ways. Follow us at Locked On A's on Twitter, or whatever it's called now, and on Instagram. I am your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. And if you're listening to this every day and you're posting on comments on social media, be sure to use that hashtag Everyday A's, so we have an idea of who the heck is listening to us. Hey, by the way, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at eBay Motors. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive. With all the parts you need and at the prices that you want, it's easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only and exclusions apply. eBay Motor Guaranteed Fit is available to U.S. customers only. Now, I'll tell you who needs to have the hood popped open and take a good long look at what the heck is going on here. Doesn't it seem like a long time ago that the A's got to even 500 and we're only a game and a half out of first place? That was fun. I had a lot of fun when that was happening. That was a long time ago. Today's game was just a little too typical of what we've been seeing with the A's. They fell behind early. You know, the Tucker got that 2-run double, or got the double in the third inning to make it 2-0. Then Soderstrom singles. It's 2-1. Bregman hits his first of 2 homers. Bleday got a double. Suddenly it's 3-2, and we're all thinking, Bregman homers, okay, 4-2, not so bad. 5-2, okay, that sucks. But then you had that eighth. And did I remind you they had that eighth? And the score was only 5-2. It was still a winnable ball game, and Presley, who a few years ago was a World Series closer, but has been struggling. What did he do? Presley comes in. Okay, Bleday flies out, but Bleday has been playing pretty well recently, so I can't get on him too much about that. Rooker gets the single. Rooker's been phenomenal. I can't even say it. Then Langoliers flies out. Okay, it looks like a dead inning. 2 outs, 1 on. But then Soderstrom doubles. Rooker is held at third. Fine. I think he probably could have scored. I believe in chipping away. You got to get at least something out of that inning. Okay, so you got runners at second and third. Seth Brown is up. And we've all known that the A's have lived by the homer and they have died by the homer. I was listening to A's Cast today. There was some ridiculous stat of like 53%. I don't know it for sure, and it doesn't matter. The answer is it's a lot percent. That's a good sentence, Sully. A lot percent of the A's offense has come from homering. Homer all day long. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, do you know what? They haven't gotten many home runs, and that kind of shows you that they're sitting on a 5-2 game. They only scored 2 runs. But a home run here, suddenly it's a tie game. And Seth Brown could pop one out. I'm not saying that he's Jason Giambi in his prime, but he has the capability of popping one out. And with 2 strikes, as the tying run in a bandbox where I think I hit 2 home runs last year, right down the middle of the plate. Called strike. Called strike three. Now, obviously, all these players are better than I am. They're in the major leagues, and I'm here in a little studio recording a podcast. I get it. So I'm not going to question someone's ability. I'm not going to question someone's drive. All I know is if I say right now what I said when it happened, this would get an explicit rating. And you knew when he took that call third, it was over. It was over. This game was over with a capital over. And then, but just to make it worse, they go to the eighth inning. And Alvarez singles. Sherman throws the ball, makes a fielding error. Singleton walks. Here comes Bregman, 2 home runs, and what do we got now? We got ourselves a double. Suddenly a 5-2 game is 7-2. And then, what do we got now? Victor Carantini doubled. What was once a 5-2 game with the tying run at the plate is now a 9-2 game. And that was it. And so if you didn't watch the game, you would say, the Astros gave the A's an old-fashioned butt whipping that took them to the woodshed. But really wasn't what happened. This was a game that could have been tight. It could have been tight. How many? I mean, if I'm going to go to the box score here, how many runners on base did the A's leave? The A's left 8 runners on base. Knock 1 or 2 of them in before the 8th inning, and suddenly it's a 1-run game. Suddenly you can use Miller. Suddenly you can get the possibility of winning game 1 of a 4-game series. Do you know how hard it's going to be to win this series right now? To win the series, you have to win out. To split it, you got to take 2 out of 3. That's why winning game 1 is so critical. So I got so mad at them last week when they blew that game 1 to Texas. But a couple of things are becoming disturbing here. One, their bullpen has not been the lights-out bullpen that it was just a couple of weeks ago. Remember, Spence was pitching pretty well. He didn't pitch well today. And Lucas was a disaster. The other thing is since winning that 20-4 game against Miami that your pal Sully was at the Coliseum to watch, the A's have played 9 games and they have allowed 8 or more runs in 6 of them. And in one of those games they lost because it was the Corey Seager 3-run homer game when things really started coming out, the wheels started coming off the bus here. But it's hard to win games because you're relying on a bullpen and you're relying on the home runs. Now, the Astros are still behind the A's in the standings. You get the sense that's not going to be happening much longer. My dream and wish that the A's don't finish in last place is being buoyed by the fact that the Angels are absolutely terrible. But this could have been a chance to win game 1 and set a message to the Astros saying, yeah, this is a folding year for you, instead of the real possibility that they could get their mojo back right now. Their pitching has not been good. Their pitching has been, there's a technical term, and I don't mean to get into sabermetrics here, but the term is it sucks. It's been bad. But it's been the bullpen that's been falling apart more than lately. And then they're relying so much on the home run. They're relying so much on it. When you don't have that weapon, you have a game like today where they scratch out 2 runs, but you're sitting back waiting to clobber one. Now, granted, it's in a home run hitter ballpark, but still, they need to come up with something other than, Langoliers hit one out. Rooker hit one out. Look at that. Blade hit one out. Can't rely on that. You've got to find something, anything, to get a rally that isn't just based on the long ball. And you got to, hold the team to less than a run an inning, which is basically what they've been averaging. I don't want this fun to die. I don't want this to just be a fluke that took us through the first few weeks of May, but then they fall apart. I'm not ready to see this be a 100-loss team. This team has been fun. You know what they have to do? They have to find a new way to win. Otherwise, we could be looking at a long season of which it's already kind of sad. Passion, drive, excellence. They are all what you need for a championship team. And it's also what you need to keep your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because the eBay Motor, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need and all the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only and exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Hey, let me ask you a question. Where is your go-to spot for your sports news? Make your switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 streaming channel program for you every day to bring home the biggest stories in all of sports. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channel app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. It's not getting better, the news for the A's. Paul Blackburn is now on the 15-day injured list. He has a stress fracture in his foot. He hasn't pitched badly, but he's supposed to be in a walking boot for the next couple of weeks. That's not good. That's not good. He had that great scoreless stretch at the beginning of the year. And they're calling up Easton Lucas. He made a couple appearances earlier this year. They sent him to Las Vegas. Now he's come back. More bad news. Alex Wood is not taking the trip to Houston. He is getting further evaluation for his shoulder. I'm going to be reading the report from MLB.com. It says that Wood has been pitching through a shoulder issue that worsened. He had a terrible start in his last start. And so that when you're having someone who's, Wood is no spring chicken. And, not to be mean, but, Wood's been around a while. And when you have someone who's been around a while, he's not ancient. He's 33, but this is his 12th season in the major leagues. And when you see people who've been pitching for a while suddenly have, shoulder issues, next thing you know, you start to hear those dreaded words. I don't even want to say it. Ken Waldichuk is going to get surgery. He's probably going to miss the rest of the season. And we're finding out about Zach Geloff. Zach Geloff is on the injured list. He's supposedly going to be ready to come off of the injured list sometime this week. He would be a welcome sight for the A's. We're doing a live stream tonight. I see we have a couple people in there. If you have any questions or anything you want me to know, be sure to throw them into the comments section. We have a couple of things that were written by some of our listeners here. Hey, It's Steve wrote something very interesting. He's an everyday listener, and he says, I know you've already spoke on public money for stadiums. I completely agree with you. For those who missed, I don't think owners should get 1 penny of public money. It's not a public entity. The profits are not shared with the public. And the whole idea of it creates a big economic boom is nonsense. So if you want public money, then you have to also participate in some sort of public sharing or public ownership, which you don't want to do. and nor do I want that to happen. I don't want the government involved in my baseball teams, but I also don't want the government funding my baseball teams. So, but It Steve has a couple of brings up an interesting question. So in this case, if, and that's a big if, that's what he wrote, not me, the A's do relocate to Las Vegas, do you think owners will still play the Moneyball tactic in a new stadium? Will anything change? I don't think Las Vegas is a good city for baseball. Basketball, I could totally see, but not baseball. Well, I've been saying, as I said, I've been saying for literally years that I think Las Vegas is a terrible spot for Major League Baseball. It's completely the wrong place for the kind of fandom that will support the team. And even if the A's have to move, and I think we all have to come to some sort of agreement that, it sucks, but they're moving. The whole Moneyball tactic, will they continue Moneyball there? I hope not. I really hope not. I'm going to go into a whole episode of why Moneyball, the concept of Moneyball, the book, the movie, and everything, in the end helped torpedo the A's because it became a euphemism for being cheap. And I think some of the things in Moneyball were very interesting. I happen to be a big fan of the movie, but I think the movie is fiction. I think that you saw, why did the A's win all of those division titles? Well, is it because Scott Hatterberg was drawing walks and Chad Bradford was throwing sidearm? No, it's because they had 3 Cy Young Award candidates whom they developed, and they had the AL MVP in Miguel Tejada, and they had a legitimate all-star in Eric Chavez. They had a deep team of which 60% of the time they had a Cy Young candidate on the mound. That's Moneyball. Yes, getting on base and everything like that was important, but the other thing to remember is it was very important then because it was the middle of the steroid era. So just get on base. It doesn't matter what position you play. Get on base. It doesn't matter if you're old. Just get on base because someone will hit a 3-run homer. That's what it's all about. Yes, they used sabermetrics, and yeah, they used advanced metrics and everything like that to find some bargain hunting, and they did a good job with that. But now everyone does that. So there's nothing novel about it anymore. But to continue doing it, I believe, is the ownership saying, "Oh no, we're cutting corners because it's Moneyball." There's no way that's going to fly in a new place. They've bought 0 goodwill in the bank. And if they play the nickel and diming and playing musical chairs with players and saying, "Oh, we're gonna cut costs here, we're gonna cut costs there," why would the people of Las Vegas come to a game for a new team that's nickel and diming it? At least if you're an A's fan, you have memories of Reggie and Canseco and Ricky Henderson and Jason Giambi. What do they have in Las Vegas? No, there's no way they can do that. There's no way. There's absolutely no way they can do it because it will be, quite frankly, nothing short of a freaking disaster if they try to do the whole, we're moneyballing this. No, you can't do it. You can't do it. I got one other one who was responding to a video. I think it was the first video that I did, which was a month ago. Where is this one here? This is this was, the video that I did when I was first starting, and it was I lost track. You have well, the gist of it was, it was a fan that says he wasn't going to support them at all. You vote with your money, and that's that. And here we go. There it is. Yeah, I found it. Roland 7584. You vote with your dollars. Boycott any and all games from here on out. And I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to say you're wrong. It's your money, and you make your decision. I have made the choice that I am going to have fun with this team because they're not going to be here next year. And I think everyone who loves the Oakland A's shouldn't deny themselves enjoyment. Boycott and vote. If that's my take. If your take is, I refuse to give this person money, I respect that. I respect that. But I also don't think you should deny yourself pleasure. They're already going to go. You can't stop it. There's no way they're going to be the Oakland A's after this year. So I've made this point before, and I will make it again. Do your best to give yourself happiness, because life is short and life is stupid. So if there's something that gives you joy and happiness, don't deny yourself, especially if denying it's not going to do anything. And Gravity Fallout Pines, who's an everyday A's, says, I'm not going to let Fisher take my A's from me. I never met Fisher. I don't care, so I'll keep enjoying the A's. Yeah, that's pretty much my take. Well, look, but if you feel that way about not spending any money and boycotting, I respect that. What am I supposed? How could I not?
PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You can pick more than or less than on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your PrizePicks entry, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs. Take your picks on more than or less than, and then add them to your PrizePicks entry today. Get in the playoff action and win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks as you and the world's best players take the game to a new level during basketball's postseason. PrizePicks is really simple to play. I can make my picks and submit them in less than 60 seconds. Download the app and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Yes, download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Hey, what's your go-to spot for checking out the latest in sports, opinions, takes, and the news? Have it be Locked On Sports Today, the first ever national 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. It's now available on the free Amazon Fire TV's channel app. Check it out for all the latest from the Locked On experts and the national shows. Check it out, Locked On Sports Today. Have that be your hub.
Now the shortstop.
You know, there are sometimes players who are beloved by fan bases because they were superstars, but sometimes it's because they played super hard for them and they were there for the championship years, and they may not have been the big superstars, but they're the ones that the fans absolutely adore. And one person for Pittsburgh Pirate fans who fits that description to a T is Manny Sanguillen, who to this day is connected with the Pirates, loves the Pirates, is associated with the Pirates, is at every Pirate reunion. The catcher from Panama was a key all-star when the Pirates won the World Series in 1971 and had a phenomenal year in postseason in 1972 when they narrowly lost the playoffs to the Reds. And then in 1979, the famous We Are Family championship for the Pirates. He was past his prime and in his mid-30s, but still came off the bench to get a key run batted in the Pirates' unbelievable come-from-behind victory against the Baltimore Orioles. For 13 seasons, he played in the major leagues, and in 12 of them, he was a beloved member of the Pittsburgh Pirates to this day. He was with the Pirates from 1967 to 1976 and from 1978 to 1980. And yet 1 year, he was with the Oakland A's. In fact, my first memory of Manny Sanguillen was his 1978 Topps card. 1978, I was 6 years old, and that was the first year I started collecting baseball cards. The first year I started learning who the teams were and who the players were. I didn't quite know the stats, but I loved to look at the baseball cards. I remember there was a card for a player on the A's with his green hat and the yellow bill, and a big, huge smile, Manny Sanguillen. And don't think I didn't mispronounce that name. And so in a weird way, my first memory of him is as an Oakland A. Similarly, my first memory of Tom Seaver is as a Cincinnati Red. Things can be weird. Things can be strange. And Manny Sanguillen had an even stranger route to Oakland in his 1 year there. He was a fixture in Pittsburgh. But as the Pirates were starting to get a little long in the tooth and getting a tiny bit older, and they lost the division title in 1976, to the Philadelphia Phillies. The Pirates need to get younger. And Ed Ott and Duffy Dyer were, was it Ed? Wait, was it Duffy Dyer? I know it was Ed Ott. It's Duffy Dyer were the two young catchers for the Pirates. And Manny Sanguian was expendable. The A's, just after winning their 3 straight World Series titles, were playing a little bit of musical chairs with their manager. And after Alvin Dark left, Chuck Tanner came in to manage in 1976 and did well, but was poached by the Pittsburgh Pirates. They wanted him to be the new manager of the team. And Charlie Finley felt, if you're going to take our manager away from us, I demand satisfaction and compensation. And so if you go to baseballreference.com, the single greatest website in the history of the planet Earth, you will see that in November 5, 1976, the Pirates traded Manny Sanguian plus $100,000 to the A's for their manager, Chuck Tanner. That's right. He was traded for a manager and with a little bit of cash thrown in there. He became the everyday catcher. He appeared in 152 games, played okay, and split catching duties with Jeff Newman, who was a young catcher who was coming up with a very confusing A's team. Now, he wasn't the superstar anymore that he was with Pittsburgh, but he did manage to have some pretty darn good games. On April 24th, in the game against the Chicago White Sox, he went 4 for 4 with a run batted in. In August, he had a game where he went 3 for 4 with a home run and 3 runs batted in, which was part of the difference where they beat Cleveland 7-3. He had a big game where he went 3 for 4 and scored a run as the A's topped the California Angels in April. And they had a big game against the eventual World Series champion New York Yankees, going 3 for 5, driving in 2 in a year where the Yankees were dominant and the A's were in flux. But it was a confusing time. And Manny Sanguian eventually was traded back to the Pirates in exchange for Miguel Delone, Elias Sosa, and Mike Edwards, 3 players who actually contributed to a 1978 A's team that went nowhere, but he did quite well. And along the way, he came back to Pittsburgh, got a little bit of playing time, but Ed Ott and Steve Nicosia were the starters when they won the World Series in 79. Eventually, Sanguian and Burt Blyleven were traded to the Cleveland Indians, but he never played a game with the Indians as he wound up being released in spring training. So his career was complete Pirate, start to finish, 2 titles, beloved forever, except for that one detour where Manny Sanguian was a member of the Oakland A's. And I bet if you even know who Manny Sanguian is, you had no idea he played for the Oakland A's. So he's the latest of the you didn't remember he played for the Oakland A's. Oh, Lord. Oh, curveball Z126 says something interesting. No way the A's are going to leave Sacramento to go to Las Vegas because Las Vegas doesn't want them, and Sacramento is going to sell out. Do you know what, curveballs 126? I'm actually thinking you're right, because why not? Why wouldn't you be right? Well, he has an answer for that. In my humble opinion, I'm wrong all the time, though. Well, so have the A's. Well, hopefully they are going to turn things around because, quite frankly, I don't want to sit through a losing streak here. So go to Locked On A's on Twitter, or whatever it's called now, or on Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Talking about a rough start to the A's series in Houston, hoping that they figure out something. Remembering Manny Sanguian's cameo, this has been Locked On A's. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.